Hey everyone, Mario Game Dude here with a review for Mario Sonic at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. As many of you may have noticed by now, I did receive a review code for this game super early, so I want to thank the people at SEGA for giving me this amazing opportunity to play this game for them. Okay, so before we start, quick note, a history lesson for you. This is the first time that a Mario Sonic series had to skip an Olympic Games, because as some of you may not know, we didn't get a 2018 Olympic Winter Games due to Ubisoft taking the license to make their own game. So many people thought that because of that we weren't going to get another Olympic Games, but we were. Okay, history lesson over. Without further ado, let's start the review. Number 1, Overview. First, let's talk about the overview for the game. Like previous installments, it features the characters from the Mario Sonic series competing in events ranging from track, gymnastics, aquatics, and much more. This year, it features 4 new sports: surfing, sports climbing, karate, and skateboarding. Also, this time the Olympics are taking place in Tokyo, which are both Mario and Sonic's hometowns. Number 2, Visuals. The graphics are definitely a step up from Rio, as you can clearly see the characters being so expressive in all the gameplay they're in. And all the events, I can see them being so expressive and everything. You can really see the emotion. Also, you can really see emotion in the archery event, when they're about to shoot an arrow in their super move, when they get angry, as an example, as you can see here. And the opening movie definitely shines. It's not as great as the one, say, in London, but it's definitely good to watch from time to time. Number 3, Events. There are over 30 events this time in the Olympic Games, with some being dream events that make a return after being absent in Rio, and there are some other exclusive events in the new Retro mode, where you can play as certain characters in retro style. Now, before we talk about those modes, let's go back to the Olympic events. As I stated before, there are 4 new ones in the game. These 4 are really fun to play with, especially with my friends. My personal favorites being surfing and skateboarding. Each of them are handled really well, and the controls are very easy to get used to. Of course, there are many fan favorites returning, like boxing, archery, football, rugby sevens, and 4x100 meter relay, all of which are sure to give you a grand time. Boxing even has a nice touch, as when you knock down an opponent, you can hear the crowd chanting the character's name. Oh, before I forget, if you're worried about the controls, you shouldn't be, because now you can actually choose which playstyle you want to play as, whether it's buttons or motion controls. This is a major improvement because past installments either focused too much on motion controls or too much on buttons. But now you have a choice to pick which one fits you best. Like for me, I did better in swimming, canoeing, and javelin throw using motion controls, while for events like gymnastics and archery, I did better with buttons. So it's all up to you how you want to play. However, there are some events that only use buttons, so keep that in mind. Number 4, Dream Events. After being absent from Rio, Dream Events make a grand return in Tokyo 2020. There are a total of 3 Dream Events. Now that's actually the lowest amounts of Dream Events we've had compared to past installments. But with the low amount, all 3 offer great gameplay. There's Dream Racing, which puts you and other racers in a Sonic Riders type race down a hill located in the Sonic Forces Metropolis stage. This was my favorite Dream event, as it wanted me to get a new Sonic Riders game. It made me want a new Sonic Riders game, but the drawback is to this. I wish this event had 2 or 3 more race courses to add more variety, as it did get a bit repetitive. Next, we have Dream Shooting, which pits you and 3 others in an arena shooting targets and giant kites for bonus points. I never knew how much fun I could have with this event, to be honest. It's an event you can't avoid trying, though again, it needs more arenas to get more variety. And lastly, we have Dream Karate, located in the Mushroom Kingdom from Mario Odyssey, and you can actually see the Odyssey in the background also. And this event places you and 3 others in a ring, where you basically beat each other up and rank up the most points by having your opponent land on a tile and claim it as yours. This was my favorite, second favorite actually, event, and it was very entertaining. You couldn't believe how many times I loved throwing my opponents across the stage. It's so great to have Dream events back in all its glory, and I hated not having them in Rio. Even if the duel events were enjoyable, a bit enjoyable at least, but not as fun as Dream events. Number 5, characters. Just like the past few games, we have the same basic amount of characters. We have the 10 usual bunch from Mario and then the other 10 from Team Sonic. We also have a few guest characters who can be unlocked via story mode. Team Mario's guests are Larry, who is exclusive to Equestrian again, Ludwig for fencing, Wendy in swimming, Diddy Kong for rugby, Rosalina for surfing, and Toadette, who is actually making her debut in the Mario & Sonic series as a playable character in 110-meter hurdles. And for Team Sonic's guests, we have Zaz in table tennis, Eggman Nega in karate, Zavok in boxing, Rouge in sports climbing, Jet in football, and Espio in triple jump. Now, this is where some of my minor complaints for the game come in. Prepare for a very long rant. If you don't want to hear it, skip right over to this time step right here. You see, after Vancouver, we've had the same amount of 20 characters time and time again. From 2010 to now, we've had the same bunch of people over and over. Once Rio came along and introduced a vast amount of new characters, we all thought the roster could finally be expanded. I mean, 20 new characters? That's huge. Only to find out they'd be exclusive to a single event each. Many people, and myself included, hoped that SEGA and Nintendo got the message that we didn't like this feature, and it would have returned, and sadly, it did. They even cut a few characters who were in Rio, so that's disappointing, and because of that, some of the events don't even have guests. And some of the placements for some of the guests don't make sense. More specifically, Jet, who's in soccer again. Of course, in the last game, it was fine, but not for this game when we have events like skateboarding, surfing, and Dream Racing, which has you on a hoverboard for crying out loud. It doesn't make sense that he's not available in those sports. I was really looking forward to having Jet and Sonic race against each other in this event. Of course, this doesn't make the game bad in any way. It just takes a step back and made the game from being even more fantastic by having a grand roster to choose from. I know they probably want to save development time, or probably didn't have enough development time because of how much effort they put into the outfits, into the events, and the story mode. But they could have at least put these 6 characters who have been very highly requested to be fully playable. Especially Rouge and Rosalina, who've deserved to be in the roster since London. I mean, they're in the front cover for Rio for crying out loud. It cannot be that hard. Maybe next time for 2022. Please, SEGA, if you're watching this. One other thing I had to point out. Where are the Miis? Have they been completely removed? This is a sad sight to see. I've loved playing as my Mii in the game. I mean, look at this empty space right here. You can easily put a Mii button right there. And where are the special animations? They were introduced in Sochi and brought back into Rio, adding in new ones, and now they're gone. They had a huge opportunity to put in new ones for the guests who are in team events, or put in new ones for the veterans. Okay, whew. Ranting over. Moving on. Number 6, outfits. In case you haven't noticed, Tokyo 2020 is the first game to have a majority of the Mario & Sonic cast wear sports attire that are specific to that event, whereas in past games it was just the girls who got an outfit change. Although Peach and Daisy are wearing different clothing rather than their usual ones that we see in usual Mario sports games. Anyway, this time the boys join in on getting new clothing, minus some of the cats for some reason, even though they've worn clothing before. And I must say, I've been wanting a feature like this for a long time, and I've seen so many fans praise this inclusion. You wouldn't believe how much fan art I've seen of all the Mario Sonic cast in different attire. If you told me back in 2010 that we'd be seeing Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and even Eggman shirtless, I wouldn't have believed ya. And you know, it was always weird seeing Mario or Eggman swim in their usual getup, so this is a welcome change that I hope stays in the next game for 2022. if that ever gets made. Number 6, Retro Mode. Now here's the newest mode to the Mario and Sonic series. In this mode, you take control of 8 Mario and Sonic characters, being Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, or Eggman, in a retro-style look to compete in events that take place in Tokyo 1964. Now this mode is very interesting, and I like its take on it. The game's story really does this mode justice. Each of the events offer something different from the 2020 events. Some events are even exclusive to the retro mode, like Vault, Platform, Judo, and Marathon, as well as Volleyball. I have no complaints for this mode, but I do wish we had the other characters be retro in this. I know that would have been a lot of work to do that, make all the models and stuff, but still, that would have been nice. Number 8, Story Mode. Here's basically the best part of the game, the Story Mode. In previous entries, all story modes were on the handheld version, and I always wanted to have one on the home console. And now, thanks to the Switch, my wish came true. The story is that Bowser and Eggman trip Mario and Sonic into getting sucked into the Tokyo 1964 video game. However, all 4 of them, along with Toad, get trapped in the game, prompting Tails and Luigi to find a way to get them back, while meeting other Mario and Sonic characters along the way, and running into trouble because of Eggman Nega and Bowser Jr. This is where the game truly shines. I truly love the writing and interacting that each of the Mario and Sonic characters have with each other. It really feels genuine and makes me wish for a true Mario and Sonic crossover game. You travel around Tokyo 2020 and 1964 in a somewhat hub world, kind of like they did with Rio 2016, but a much wider spread. This is also where you do the 1964 and 2020 minigames, but we'll talk about that later on. Again, this story mode was very enjoyable and worth the completion. Number 9, Online. Hey, that rhymed! Online mode is back after being shown off in Sochi, even though being very lackluster and being cut from Rio for some reason. I tested out the online with my YouTuber friend Shadow759, and it worked out great. He said he experienced some lag on his end, but for me, it worked okay. You can play online matches with people from around the world in ranked or free matches, and so far, I'm enjoying it. I've played a few online matches already, and I got massacred. You guys are great out there. You guys are pros. Number 10, Music. Now, in terms of music, it's okay for the most part. It gives a Tokyo-like presence. I certainly love the music and chanting in the soccer event. Always got me dancing to the beat. But sadly, unlike the past games where we had numerous amounts of remixes from the Mario and Sonic series to choose from, it's sadly not present in this game anymore. There are remixes of Peach's Castle and Metropolis Stage, but it's only present in those dream events. You can't even change the music to play whatever you want in previous titles. In fact, there aren't even any unlockable collectibles at all, like they had in London and Vancouver. In story mode, you play certain types of minigames as either Mario, Sonic, Tails, or Luigi, and complete different objectives in each minigame. Each of them are very well presented and clearly take inspiration from the Mario and Sonic series, especially the retro mode games. I mean, there's one where Mario is flying the tornado and Sonic chases after Eggman in a car. How cool is that? The minigames may not be on the grand scale like London Party Mode, but it's definitely a fun time. I just wish there was like a 2 or 4 player option or a tiny bit more games, or at least a way to change characters. Number 12, Final Results. In conclusion, Mario Sonic Tokyo 2020 is a definite improvement from Rio and Sochi, but it still needs to fix all the issues it has with the character roster, lack of unlockables, music remixes, and much more to get past top games like London and Vancouver. However, it's still a grand game to pick up, and it's sitting at number 3 on my tier list for the Olympics, with 2012 and 2010 being up top, and 2014 and 2016 being near the bottom. So I give Mario Sonic Tokyo 2020 a 7.5 out of 10.